All right, let's get an update on the activist Judge Dugan case. And we're going to break this into three parts. First, we're going to watch a video of her walking in the hallway and basically telling ICE to leave and facilitating the escape of this violent criminal, illegal alien piece of trash. Watch a video of that. That's going to lead into the second part of the video, which is why her immunity defense will not work. It's not going to work at all. And we're going to watch a little clip on that. And then finally, we're going to talk about the victims of this illegal alien piece of trash, because they certainly did not get justice. They did not get their day in court. And very few people are talking about it, but we're going to do it on this video. But first, let's watch a clip of what she did in the hallways of that courthouse. Here you go.
Another example of the robed resistance, but now caught on camera. The Angle brought you this story as it happened. An activist judge in Milwaukee allegedly helping an illegal alien accused of assault evade arrest by ICE agents. The new footage released by Milwaukee County in response to an open records request shows two plainclothes ICE agents waiting outside the judge's courtroom to identify and arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz. Judge Hannah Dugan got word of their presence and came out to confront them. Now, according to the complaint, the agents and judge disagreed over the type of warrant needed for the arrest. So Judge Dugan sent them to the chief judge's office. Then she went further down the hallway where more plainclothes agents were waiting and sent them to the same office. At this point, the complaint says the judge escorted Flores Ruiz and his attorney through the jury door into a non-public area of the courthouse. The illegal alien is then seen on camera walking through the hallway and out the jury door. But guess what? The judge didn't find all the ICE agents. They follow Flores Ruiz all the way outside, and he takes off running. But they nabbed him, and Judge Dugan's nasty scheme failed. She's now facing federal charges for obstruction of proceedings and for concealing a person to prevent arrest.
And then just a brief introduction to why her immunity defense will not work. There you go.
And her defense is probably going to be she filed a judicial immunity motion, but that's ultimately going to fail, and she's really going to have to face the consequences of her actions, I believe.
Again, that immunity defense is not going to work. And to elaborate a little bit, she does have a fair amount of control in her courtroom over who can be there, who cannot be there. So let's say, for example, ICE was in her courtroom itself, making people uncomfortable. She perceived that to be happening. She has the right to tell them to excuse themselves. But this didn't happen in the courtroom. This happened in the hallway of a public building, in this case, the courthouse. And that's why her immunity defense will not work. Just a little bit more on that. Her judge is a very left-wing judge, very vocal hater of President Trump. He may figure out how to let her off the hook. If that happens, the case will be appealed and it will go to the Supreme Court, and we will have to see what happens from there. But the next part of the video is perhaps the most important, and that is to simply ask, when are the victims of this guy going to get their day in court? And exactly what did this human piece of trash, this illegal alien criminal, do to these people? Let's watch that video first. Here you go.
And what's really amazing about this, and it doesn't get probably enough attention, is this person was facing 3 assault charges in which 2 people were hospitalized as a result of this.
And that's why I'm saying, this part of the video is perhaps the most important part, and nobody's talking about it. That's being a little too extreme. It's not talked about enough, and that is accurate. And that's one of the problems I have with Democrats. I mean, y'all want to come to the aid of these violent criminal illegal aliens claiming due process, which, by the way, is a complete joke of an argument. They're getting due process. I have another video which completely debunks your due process argument. But none of you stand or scream in defense of the victims of these violent criminal illegal aliens. And you go back to Lake and Riley Act, and the way the Democrats voted on that was absolutely disgusting. But where are you Democrats looking for due process for the victims and support for the victims in the case of a very violent crime that was committed against them, and nothing but crickets? I'm sure I'll see your comments in the comment section. That's fine. But just understand, your words don't have a lot of weight because you all are so pathetically inconsistent. If you want to be holier than thou and try to support these violent criminal illegal aliens under the guise of righteousness, well, then you need to do the same thing for the victims, but y'all don't. And that's why people really don't pay much attention to you. You yell, you shout, you throw yourselves around. We're not paying attention to it because you're inconsistent with the application of law, at least seeking for the consistent application of the law. Nonetheless, let me know in the comment sections down below what you think. Is this immunity defense going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it going to end up in the Supreme Court? And just big picture, when are these victims going to get their day in court? Because that needs to happen, in my humble opinion. I'd like to see what your comments are about that down below. As always, until next time, God bless. Love y'all.